I literally have recorded this video 3 times in the past, and I've hated it. I hate doing it. I hate that there needs to be some sort of clarification. I have just gotten through one of many of the worst things that anybody could ever go through in their entire life. I have spoken about on my podcast. Also, by the way, I'm so sorry I didn't introduce myself. I am Sophia, the host of this podcast, Safe Space, The Art of Unlearning. This would be episode 11 or 12 of this podcast. I believe so. I'll probably correct myself if I am wrong. But hi, I am back. I think the last time that you saw me, I was with my friend Pam. We were at the beach and we had a delightful conversation. And it was great to be with her. I actually saw her recently. We went to a concert together. We went to J-Hope of BTS concert, and it was so nice to see her again and to hang out with her again. It's always so lovely hanging out with Pam. But anyways, the reason why I'm making this video is because, like how I said, I have recorded this many times. I've never liked it. I've done it 3 times. I hated all 3 of them. I tried to do it, like driving my car, just standing here, or just an audio, and I just couldn't do it. And I know that if I don't do it, I'm never gonna bring this podcast back. And so with that being said, I am back with the podcast. I think I will be more consistent this time, because as many of you know, I was a caretaker full-time to my grandma. Since I was like 19, I was her power of attorney. I basically made every single decision for her medically, whether it had to do with medications, any type of treatments, doctors, anything. Somebody would call me and ask me if they thought it was okay, if they thought it was good for her, if it was the best thing to do, the whole 9 yards. And it was hard because I felt that I had dedicated most of, if not almost all of my 20s to taking care of my grandma. But I also know that it was such a great privilege and, like, honestly a blessing to do that for her, and that I'm glad that she had me and also my mother, and between the both of us, we took care of her. Unfortunately, earlier this year, March 1st, 2025, she passed away. And so I'm kind of just trying to reset on life and knowing how to live my life without having to be on somebody else's schedule, be on the mindset of like, oh, well, I can't that day because we have this going on, or did we get that done for her, or you know what I mean? It's weird, definitely. It's definitely being in like from going to into something that was so completely unknown. I had never been a power of attorney in my entire life. I didn't know healthcare as much as I do now in my entire life. And so that's what I'm saying. It is a blessing, and sorry, there was a glitch. But anyways, it is a blessing. It is a great thing that I was able to, be there for her and provide for her and do what I could for her. And so I have come back with this podcast. Which, I mean, if we're being honest, I was never really consistent on here. I would post here and there, but going back to the same thing where it's just because I didn't have time to be consistent. I think I started something where I thought it was such a great idea and it was such like a beaming thing where everybody is doing a podcast. Everybody was doing something. Everything like creators and creatives and all that stuff. But now I'm like, trying to also, I stopped working when I was taking care of her. I had left my job. I left a job in September because I got a new opportunity for a different type of job. And then this is when I truly decided, you know what? I know God exists, but at the time, it's what they truly say. When you don't know why something is going on and you'll find out later, that's what happened to me. I was in a job, front desk, very competitive industry, and it was a good job. I had great coworkers, a great manager. It was good pay. It was just stressful in the way because of the type of industry that I was in, where it is very competitive. It's very demanding. It's a lot. It was the aesthetics world. So we're talking Botox, we're talking body contouring, we're talking a lot of things. And so it was a job that was stressful in sales, in like you need to be on top of sales, be on top of selling things to people for the credit of the company because of how big and great this company is. And so that was the stressful part. And also I clashed a lot with a certain coworker, and it kind of nipped me in the butt because that certain coworker was also the CEO of the company, which is fine because, like I'm saying, it is a very demanding thing, so it made sense why there were certain clashes. I'm not blaming anybody. It was their company at the end of the day. It's something that they want to stream high for. It's something that they want to have on such a top notch. I understood that. But it got to a point where it was a lot. And I guess maybe there was something that I did, or maybe there was something that was misconstrued, where I got let go in December of 2024. And I remember during that time, I left. I got my last paycheck. I was told it was my last day. And I remember leaving. I didn't even make the full day because they had already paid me for the full day and for the full week and everything. So I left and I was crying the entire time that I was driving home because I was like, what am I gonna do? I didn't think this was gonna happen. I thought I was gonna be at this job for at least the next 3-4 years. And here I am driving from West Hollywood all the way back to my house, crying the entire time. I remember the first person who I always call for everything. I feel like I'm gonna be like freaking 50, and I'm still gonna call her. I called my mom and I told her what was going on because I just didn't want her to freak out that I was getting home at 3:34 instead of at 6, 7 at night. And so I remember calling her and I told her what happened, and I was crying, and I was crying and crying and crying because I was like, what now? Like, the workforce is already so hard finding a job at that time, and currently now, me stepping back into the workforce now. But my mother, the way that she is, and God bless her, she was like, you know what? It's fine. As simple and cheesy as it sounds, she was like, God has a plan for you. And what I'm going back to is like, it may not make sense right now, but it will make sense later. So from December until March, I fully took care of my grandma. I took her to all of her doctor's appointments, wherever she wanted to go and eat, everything. I dedicated so much time to her, all of the time. But now looking back at it, I'm like, on March 1st, when she passed away, I remember after leaving the hospital and saying our final goodbyes, because she had passed earlier in the morning on March 1st. I remember that night when I prayed for her in her internal rest. I remember saying, thank you so much, God, for letting me spend her last few months here on earth. And that's when stuff started to make sense. I was like, you know what? I know for so many times, so many years, I complained about, like, why did she have to choose me to be her power of attorney? Why am I making all of these decisions? I'm 19. I was a kid. And I'm 28. And I know so much more about the healthcare system, about everything. But now I think it's such a perfect time and such a perfect age for me to be me and do me, create what I wanted to create. I have time now. And I think that's what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to just create and do creatives and not really care, as weird as that sounds. But I think I realized that I'm gonna be stepping into like my selfish era because I have just, like how I said, wanted to do a bunch of things, wanted to talk on this podcast all the time, have more guests, be more inclusive about things, talk about things, still create that safe space that I wanted to create. And now I'm going to be able to do that. Now I have time. Like, yes, I am still looking for a job actively because I need some sort of income to come in, and because I have certain goals that I want to do. I want to, which I feel like I sound like a broken record, but I do want to move out. Like I'm saying, I'm 28 now, and I think it goes back to what my mom was saying, where like everything happens within their time and God knows what he's doing. Because I remember when I got this new job, because I knew I was going to earn more money, I was like, I can finally move out. And I found a lot of places that were relatively not that bad. close to where I was working in West Hollywood. But then also at the time, it wouldn't have made sense for me to move out, live on my own, come back to like help my mom with my grandma, and just be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the time. And, you know, not be paying for something when I'm like essentially most of the time, maybe 90-80% of the time, I wasn't even going to be there. And so now looking into the workforce now and applying, it is really like, going back to what I'm saying, it's really hard. It's very challenging because there's a lot of places who are hiring. And like I've put in a bunch of applications and there's been 2 rejections so far. So I'm still waiting for all the other ones. But the thing is that like there's jobs out there, you apply, and then sometimes you just get ghosted. Like you don't know. You get a clarification that your application was received. And then, like I'm saying, one of the rejections was, we got it. I got an interview. I went through the interview. Nothing. It's been like a month now that I got interviewed. Almost. Today's the 14th. I got interviewed April 16th. It's gonna be a month and 2 days. And I had applied for that job like 3 days after I came back from El Salvador to bury my grandma because she wanted to be buried over there. Per her wishes. That same week that I came back, I applied. That was like March, beginning of March, second week of March. So like, I don't know. I was ghosted. Second, they just told me no. Cool. Prefer it that way. Third, they also just told me no. Perfect. I prefer it that way. I prefer jobs when they tell you like, hey, you know what? No. Because then you're not just sitting here like hopeful that you're going to get a job. And so I guess like today was like one of those days where I was just like, you know what? God, if you just want me to dedicate my time right now to just be creative, that's what I'm going to do. Because I know a job will come when you believe that it's the right time to come, when you believe that it's the right job for me, and when you think that I still need it. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is the time where God's like, well, you know what? You have all the time in the world. You dedicated your time to somebody who cared about you and you equally cared about them. You did your duty and now it's time to do you. And so I'm in my selfish era. I'm going to continue to do this podcast. I'm so glad that I came back. I'm so glad that I mustered up the courage to come back because I knew I was like, if I don't record this video today, I'm never going to do it. I was never going to do it. And yeah, so I guess the only thing that I'm asking is like in the comments to just write what you want me to talk about, what you want me to do, what other safe space stuff you want me to do. Because honestly, I think my idea is just going to be life during a time of grief, where like a month after my grandma passed away, like how I said, I went to a concert. I went to the J-Hope of BTS concert when I had gotten those tickets during a time when she was like January, February, and I was like, oh my God, like I know her so well. She's gonna be so worried that I'm gonna be out and then I'm gonna be out late. I'm just gonna feel so rushed. I'm gonna feel whatever. And then I truly didn't think that was gonna happen. I didn't think that's how fast it was gonna happen. I just thought she went to the hospital, she was gonna come back, and then she would be here sitting with me. But, you know, we all have our time, we all have our date that we're gonna go with the man above, and then hopefully the plan is to, you know, reunite with them. And that's what I believe. And it just sucks because I feel like I'm not even 30 yet, and I've already experienced the second biggest heartbreak of my life. Is losing her. Because the first one was losing my dad. when I was 5, which I've talked about on this podcast so many times, because there's just so many times in life where I'm like, God, I wish my dad was here. And like, this is one of those times where I was like, I wish he was here so that he could help me, you know? But I guess with things like that, it makes you stronger, makes you a stronger human being. And that's kind of what I need to go through, you know? And it's sad because, like, it hurts right now that I'm experiencing this at 28. And it hurt at the time when I experienced it at 5. And so, I don't know if I can go through another one. And that's the craziest shit, is that we're all gonna have to go through one more. And it's just too much. Jesus Christ, you know? But anyway, let me just take a sip of water. Anyway, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to come back on this podcast. I also created another YouTube channel where I do ASMR. I have about 3 or 4 videos out right now. I feel like maybe by the time this video comes out, I'll probably have a little bit more. But yeah, I'm having fun with that. Definitely go over there and leave me a comment on what you want me to do, or if you like what I'm doing, or if you want me to do that one thing again. Definitely I could do that. I also have an Instagram for that ASMR channel. The ASMR channel is Soft Tea ASMR, SOFTIEE ASMR, the same thing as a YouTube channel. Yeah, follow me on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok while it's still here. To watch me there. And also on this podcast, you could watch me here on YouTube. You could watch me on Spotify videos, or just listen to me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. But yeah, I'm glad to be back, and I can't wait to create more, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.